Going on, everybody? Combo here, and as you more than likely read by the title, today I'll be giving you 5 tips with the devotion to make you a devotion god. Once again, if you knew any of the tips in this video, thank you so much, and if you have any more, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. I always look at my comments, respond, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, don't want to hold you guys too long, let's get right into it. Number 1 actually deals with the recoil pattern that the devotion follows and how to control that. So, if you did not know, the devotion from every single range follows the exact same recoil pattern every single time. So, to show that, we're going to fire a full clip kind of medium range and then one right up close, and you can compare the way they look. So, let's shoot one right here. You'll notice how it kind of snakes back and forth, kind of like that. Alright, so, let's take a good look at that one. Then we're going to stand right here and fire the exact same amount of shots. Like this. Now notice this. See how it goes up and to the left, back to the right, and then to the left again, up and to the left, back into the right, and up into the left again. No matter what range you are at, the devotion is going to follow the exact same recoil pattern. Number 2 is actually how to control the recoil that you just saw in the last tip. So, with the devotion, as you saw, it likes to follow a left to right snake-like pattern that is always the same. It's always like that. Every single round you fire, it's going to go left to right. So, there's an easy way to combat this. But, there's one more thing we have to take into account when firing the devotion, especially at longer ranges. When you first begin firing the devotion, the first 6 or so shots are going to bounce the gun very high when you shoot it. As shown here, I'm not going to do anything with the recoil, I'm just going to fire the gun. So, as you can see there, those first few shots just immediately bounce the sight off the gun. Something else to take in mind, the devotion naturally has a 2-time sight on it. If you see here, this is the exact same as the 2 times. I'm actually going to give you a little, pull the Spitfire here, so you can see, 2 times, and a 2 times. Keep that in mind when shooting. If we want to control that recoil, all we're going to want to do is just slightly hold down on those first few shots. After that, you still need to hold down, but nowhere near as much. So, for those first few shots, I would say hold down almost like this, where you're aiming kind of fast at the floor, but after it levels out, all you need to do is a slight like this. So, I'm going to hold down hard in the beginning, and then after it starts to level out, I'm just going to slowly hold down like this. So, here we go. We're going to do it on this target here, because this guy would die too fast. So, here we go. See, let it level out, you can hit all of your shots, like that. Number 3 actually deals with a little technique with the devotion you can do to catch people off guard and get kills before people even really knew what hit them. This technique being pre-firing. As we all know, the devotion has about a 10-round charge-up time before it reaches its max rate of fire, so we'll shoot it off here. As you can see there, it takes a few shots, and then we have our stable devotion that shreds these purple shields and wipes squads. So what you're going to want to do, basically, getting right into it, is before you turn this corner, right, let's imagine this Watson fence right here is a rock or a building. Point being, this guy right here can't see me. What you're going to want to do is just start hip firing the gun, and before you turn that corner, aim down sights, and you'll be at max rate of fire. This will catch people off guard and get some pretty easy kills for you. So let's show that off. I'm going to start hip firing right here, turn the corner. They didn't know I had that all spun up already, and they're dead. They don't even know what hit them. So we're going to show that again right here. We're going to start hip firing, turn that corner, fully spun up devotion, and they're dead. Number 4 actually pertains to the hip fire of the devotion and how to utilize it in everyday gameplay. Now, at least for me personally, I think hip fire in the devotion is a very essential part of using it correctly, and it definitely has its place when using it. So, as we all know, the recoil pattern of the devotion is the exact same every single time. Interestingly enough though, the devotion follows this exact same recoil pattern even when you're hip firing it. What this means is it likes to rise up quite a bit when you're actually hip firing it. So, when you're hip firing, unlike most guns, you still actually want to hold down on the gun. If you don't do this, which I'll show here, from about this range right here, which what I would say is the kind of the outer edge of where you should be hip firing, the gun will actually start bouncing over the target's head. So from right here, we're going to hip fire. If we don't hold down, the devotion is just going to slowly go up. As you can see, it's actually hitting the target above it. So, what you're going to want to do is when you hip fire, you're just going to slightly hold down on the devotion right here. So, we're going to hold down, going to hit our shots, and that person is immediately dead. Something else you need to take in mind is the devotion has a very strict cutoff point of when you should stop hip firing and aim down sights. The reason I say hip fire is so important is because the devotion actually has a 2-time sight on it, which can really mess up your aim sometimes if somebody's right in your face. So I'm going to show that off. Right about here, I would say, is the perfect time to be hip firing the devotion, as almost every shot is going to hit. You don't even really have to hold down. So right here, if I start hip firing, that person is immediately dead, not even a chance. From right here, the hip fire is still good. You know, you're going to hit most of your shots, but a few miss. From right here, about 20 meters, the first I shot at was 5, then 10. From 20 meters from a route right here, you do not want to hip fire the devotion by any means. So if I start hip firing right here, yes, I'm going to hit my shots, but as you can see, the shots are actually going around them. Now, the thing to note about the devotion is you have a very limited supply of ammo with this thing, so every single shot counts. From about 20 meters inwards, you want to be hip firing. From 20 meters out, you do not want to hip fire this thing. So right here, go back to about 24. This is perfect aim down sights range, and we have a very easy kill. Number 5 is another way you can fire the devotion to keep it much more consistent at longer ranges. Now, I'll say this from the start, this tip is definitely useful to know, but under certain circumstances, I would recommend not doing it. Most of which being, when you get the devotion, you come with a very limited supply of ammo, so unless you think this is 100% worth it, I would not recommend doing this. So, with the devotion, as we all know, it's not horrible at range, but it could definitely use some work. So I'm going to fire an entire clip without stopping. As you can see here, you can definitely hit a few shots, you can get some damage sometimes, but overall not the most consistent gun in the world. What you can do to combat this is actually burst firing the gun, once it's revved up, mind you. This can be a little finicky at times, but if you can get the tempo down, you can kick your shots pretty consistently at longer ranges. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to let the gun rev up for a second, you're going to want to let go of the trigger and then start firing again. So to show this from a closer range, I'm going to do it with this target right here. So we're going to let it rev up and then we're going to stop and just shoot it like this. Notice what I'm doing, I'm not letting it fire the entire time, I'm actually stopping in between to shoot a few bursts out. So right here at the longer target, once again we're going to shoot an entire burst without stopping. As you can see, we're hitting a few shots, but not very consistent, especially on moving targets. This time, we're going to burst fire it. So what we're going to do is we're going to let it rev up a little bit, and then we're going to stop in between, shoot these bursts, like this. This gives you much more bang for your buck when it comes to ammo. As I said, still not the most consistent thing in the world, but it definitely helps. So right here, keep doing that, like that. You're going to hit a lot more shots. As I said though, the devotion is very limited when it comes to ammo, as I believe you only get about 3 clips with it, so unless you are absolutely dire for damage, would not recommend doing this. Anyway guys, I would say that just about wraps up the video for today. If you did enjoy, you know, like, sub, all that YouTuber bullshit. Most importantly, I hope you guys learned something new about the devotion and some of the many ways in which you can use it. If you did know these tips, good for you, and if you have any more you'd like me to hear, be sure to put them in the comments section, as I love to talk to you guys, and I respond to most of the comments that I get. I also just want to say thank you for all the support once again. It means a lot to me, guys. Before this, I hadn't been uploading much, and now I actually have the drive to keep going and keep uploading, and it feels really good. Anyways, not trying to preach. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a wonderful day. This has been Combo, and